Yo, here we go with episode 5 of the aggression speed run, our aggressive speed run. Here it is. This is episode 5. You guys been watching. It's been going absolutely crazy. So I gotta say shout out to y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? Give yourself a pat on the back, clap it up, because the YouTube channel been going crazy, guys. Subscribe if you haven't already, as we reach 100K subs. So, and keep going and keep grinding, keep putting out content for you guys, for everyone, to get better as we go through our aggressive speed run. If you've missed this slide deck, where we're going to go through some of it, just again, fast, aggressive, tactical chess. We're going to go through this stuff really fast here. You get concrete calculation, pattern recognition, and confidence under pressure is our aggressive advantage. Here's our opening repertoire. Jobava London with white will try for any one of these. The King's Indian against D4 and the Black Lion against E4. So this is what we want. Here we go. What we'll learn is opening systems, tactical patterns, and an aggressive mindset. Our climb is from the ratings of 400 to 2,000. Right now, we at like 535 or something like that. And we're going to play two games here. We might start adding 3, but 2-game minimum. Chess should be fun, aggressive, and fast. And let's begin. Here we go. All right, so we are in our account. Let's do this. Here we go. Pre-move D6 always. We always pre-move D6, 1D6. There we go. Then we're going to go knight f6 very quick. So this pawn is hanging, guys. I can take this 100%. I can absolutely take it. I could go h6 too. I'm going to actually take this pawn because he's giving it to me. h6 would allow e5, which is kind of annoying. I could go e5 anyway, but then he goes knight g5. So I'm actually going to take the free pawn. It's free. Then I'll try to reset. Okay, guys, what is... I'm supposed to make it bigger too as well. Guys, what did I even say here? This is not the right move. It's not the right move. So we're just going to take the knight. And there we go. We're up a knight. We are up a knight and knight to our opponent, as he just hung a knight here. Yeah, we wanted to get a black lion here, but unfortunately we got something else. So we just took the pawn and we take the knight, and now we're just completely winning. So he's attacking our knight. We're going to move it to a strange square, which is e6. It kind of blocks a lot of stuff, but I'm up. We don't really care. I'm going to pre-move bishop takes e6 because he might try to take it. Okay, so now he's going for this, but there's nothing going on. So I'm going to play knight to c6 with the idea of knight e5 to attack. I'm a big fan of development, guys. Develop your pieces. That's what that is. Develop your pieces, guys. That's what it's about. So now I'm going to go knight e5. Trade when you're up, not when you're down. Because I'm up material, I'm going to trade. I'm going to look for more trades here. So I will take something next. Whether it's the queen or the bishop, he's probably going to move his queen. I do say probably because he did hang that knight very quickly out of the opening. So let's see what happens here. One thing at this opening, and its opening range, this opening rating, wherever we are, is people hang a lot of pieces. So I tell lots of students, especially at this rating range, to take everything they give you. Now, if it's like you want to be making sure that you ask yourself, what are they doing when I take this piece? Can they attack me as a checkmate or something like that? Be aware, because they might be trying to set you up tactically with some type of checkmate. But generally speaking, as you've seen in this game too as well, under the 1,000, sub 1,000, lots of times there's just hanging pieces a lot. Hanging means undefended. So he plays queen h5. I'm actually going to attack his queen again because I get another tempo on the queen. Remember from the other one, bringing your queen out early queen moves gets you in trouble. So I'm going to attack his queen. I get a free tempo here. Let's see what he does with this queen now. But yeah, we're just up material. So pretty easy game here. Our next game should be with white, probably at Jobava London. We'll hope for that. So let's see what happens. G6 hits the queen. Let's see what white does now. Queen e2, so he gets out of the way. I could attack him once again, but I'm actually just going to take this bishop because that's what I wanted to do. Then I'm going to fianchetto and get castled quite quickly. Development is very important. One of the key things to be doing in every game is get your pieces out, guys. Develop. So I'm going bishop g7, and I'm castling next. Bishop g7, castle next. I'm just going to, well, maybe not pre-move it. I was about to pre-move it, but you never know what they're going to do. You never know. I would love to pre-move castles here, but you never know what he's going to do. Especially after that knight g5 early in the opening there. You never know what they're going to do. So we just got to sit and wait. We're up material. Again, you trade when you're up, not when you're down. So because we're up a piece, We look for trades and also create problems. So he goes rook d1. There's no problems there. We get castled. Moving quickly. Moving quickly. Let's see what he does. Rook d1 does put some pressure here, but there's nothing that we can't handle. Knight takes c5 handles that too as well. Knight d4. I'm going to attack his queen. See if he's paying attention. This is also defended here. I'm going to go c5 next to solidify this knight is a very strong and annoying knight. If queen d3, we can go bishop f5 and hit this as well. So let's see where he puts his queen. He has to be careful. Queen e3 or e1 runs into knight takes c2, forking the queen and the rook at the same time. So let's see what white is going to play here. Queen d3, there we go. And now bishop f5 to put more pressure. I've developed with tempo. One of the best things to do is develop a piece while doing something else. Dual threats. Yeah, so it's very nice. Attacking the queen, putting some pressure on this diagonal at the same time. Here we go. Yeah, we just like win. It's just a clean one, boys and girls. We're just kind of waiting for the dub, waiting for the resignation, or when we win the game. Knight takes c2 incoming. I could also take with the bishop too, but I don't really care to take with the bishop. Let him think it out in the think tank. I'm gonna grab my phone. I'm just kind of chilling. So guys, he played queen f3 here, guys. Yeah, it's one of those days. Guys, take the hanging pieces when they give them to you. Okay, when they give you gifts, you take them. Take the free gifts. Okay, take the free gifts. You want to expect at this rating, you want to expect them to give you things. So you want to be looking out for it while also developing your pieces and paying attention and looking around the board. Bird's eye view is what I love to say to my students. I pre-moved bishop takes pawn. I'm going to go back and I'm going to just start pre-moving randomly. I'm just winning, so I kind of just pre-move. Maybe we'll do. Let's see if he's paying attention. I'm going queen g5 next. And there it is. There it is. And a checkmate. And a checkmate. Let's do a quick game review here. Game review. We'll screen it. 93% accuracy from your boy. Here we go. Okay, so let's start the review. So in this game, e4, d6, right? We always start with d6, so we can either go King's Indian or Black Lion, right? Now, most of our ideas is if e4 and d4, right? Well, he didn't go d4, but with e4, we always go d6 and we're going with Black Lion, which is knight f6. We generally don't go g6. That's only King's Indian, which means he doesn't go e4, move 1. Just so you guys understand which and when do we play which. Against e4, we're always going 1d6. Against anything, we're always going 1d6. But we're going Black Lion if they choose anything with e4. If it has to be e4, move 1, we're mostly leaning 99% Black Lion. If they do anything else, move 1 other than e4, it might be a King's Indian. But it could transpose. For instance, if they start with like move 1 knight f3 and then we go d6. Then they go e4, we're now back into a Black Lion by transposition. But e4, d6, knight f3, and I go knight f6. He goes bishop c4, which actually just hangs a pawn. And of course, if we go for, I have some students that like to just go for lion anyway with like an h6 or e5. The problem is if I go e5, then knight to g5 is what he did in the game. But of course, this is what he's aiming for. His whole setup is aimed around this. And if I go h6, then he has this annoying move e5, which after pawn takes, knight takes, and then his knight and bishop are still hitting this annoying square. So to deal with this altogether, we just take the knight, or take the pawn. Knight takes pawn, and then he goes knight to g5. That is not a move. Well, remember, we want to take the free pieces they give us. Take the free things that they give us. Take the free stuff. So knight takes g5, which now I'm just winning. I'm up, and he goes d3 to attack the knight. I move my knight out of the way. He goes queen f3, aiming here, hoping I move the knight, but I'm not going to move it. I just finished with development. Castle, 95, trade when you're up, not when you're down. So I'm going to take something next. Queen h5, I go g6 to attack the queen. Queen moves away. And then we take because we're up. When you're up material, one of the best things to do is trade. If you count the pieces, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're not counting pawns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm up material. So that means if we trade 6 minus 5, raise your hand, class. Exactly. I knew you were a math scholar. It's 11. Psych, it's 1. Exactly. You're up material. So that means you trade and you have that extra 1 piece. So we trade, right? We trade down and then we end up winning the game. So bishop g7, rook d1, castles, knight c3. I go knight d4 to put the queen, hit the queen. After he moves the queen, I go bishop f5, which attacks the queen, and c2 as well. Queen f3, which just is not the move, boys and girls. So we take the queen and we're just winning. Take the pawn, and then I'm just easy work. c6, takes. Bishop h3 is next with the goal of queen g5 check. He misses it. We check. We go for mate. Lots of times at this rating, any type of threats are going to work lots of times because they're not paying attention. So that is our first game. Let's go to game number 2. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We got black again, bro. This is crazy. How am I getting black like all the time? What is this? I'm about to abort this game. There we go. I'm like, how am I getting black every game? Jobava, can we get a Jar Jar Binks? Can we get a Jar Jar Binks London finally? Finally. A regular Jobava London. Knight to c3. Now we're going bishop f4. There we go. So the c6 line is more Carol Khan-ish for the Carol Khan players or Slav players. We're going to go bishop f4, which is our main move. Anyway, he does stop knight b5, but we still play our Jobava London way. He goes knight f6. I'm going with the e3 line. My next goal here is to do this. So he goes g6. g6 is a rarity. It's a rare move to go g6 and c6. I know that I give theory like this with bishop e2 and h4, h5. I like just going h4, h5 anyway. You know, that's what I'm going for. An aggressive kill here. We will sacrifice the exchange. Let's see if he lets us do it. h5 is generally what people like to do to not allow us to go h5. But h5 is ultra aggressive with this exchange sacrifice on this side of the board. I'm going to go for it. So let's see if he allows us to do it. We start with the early h4 here and see if he allows us. So he plays h6. That's actually a good move because if I go h5, he'll go g5. But I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it anyway. And if he goes g5, his king side is very weak. So he doesn't do it at all. That is not a good move because this is going to be a weak pawn. So now after pawn takes and then pawn takes back, he should take it back. He should take it back. Now we're going to go bishop d3 and attack this pawn, which is weak. We could go g5 again, and he doesn't even pay attention here, guys. Always be asking yourself, what is my opponent doing? And if you ask that and you figure it out, that's great. Now I can take either pawn. Either pawn. Probably this pawn is a little bit stronger, I think. I'm going to take this way. So now after rook takes, I'm hitting this pawn twice. So let's pre-move rook takes. There it is. Now I can take this twice. King g7 might be something he'll play. Bishop f5 is best, though. He should probably play bishop f5. He doesn't. He goes with g5. I guess I'll go rook check. Just to check him, see where he goes. Let's see what he does. I could go rook g5 next. See what he does. King h7. Wow, he played the worst move here. Oh my goodness. Like, he played the worst move. He needs some milk. This is the worst move. Why? Because this. Like, the whole diagonal here. So, I mean, white to move, guys. What do you play in this position? What do you play? You could play king f7 or king h8. But this one allows me to play, honestly, a number of moves. Can I just mate him? If I go rook g5, king h6, rook g6, king h7, okay. Rook g5, king h8. Yeah, king h8, and he can kind of run away, I guess. Queen f3, knight h7. Yeah, that's not fun. So let's just go with the simple route of rook takes f6, which I'm winning. I win a piece. It's also in check as well, so I was able to capture a piece and check him at the same time. This is really nice for us. We are in the driver's seat. We're also going to bring the queen over next for checkmating ideas. Let's go rook check here, and I'm just going to pre-move queen h5. I'm going to pre-move it. I'm just going to pre-move it. And there it is. And there you have it. Checkmate. It was a pre-move queen h5 check. So he wants to play another game. He actually is rematching us. He's actually rematching us. So you know what, guys? What we're going to do here is we're going to take the rematch real quick, and then we're going to go through both games. Oh, the rematch didn't happen. Okay, he might. I guess he left. I was going to give you guys a third game that was just off the head, like, you know what, just do it. But he left. So he also said aggressive in here too. He said aggressive. Aggressive. Right. That's what he said in the chat. You see it right behind me, guys? You see that? I don't know where it's at. Right there. Other way. You see that right there? Aggressive. Yeah. Of course. Of course we are. Of course. So let's go through the game review real quick. Game review, and this was a 90%, 90s and plus with 6 best moves. There we go. D4, D5, knight C3, C6, bishop F4. Yeah, this is the normal way of playing. They like E4, engine does. I like bishop F4. Go my same route. E3, knight F3, stuff like that. So after knight F6, I go E3. He goes G6. The G6 lines are just different. But anytime I see G6 in a Jobava London, I'm trying to go H4, H5. This is a key moment and things to understand. When you see G6, your instinct should be this. H4, H5, because you're trying to rip open that king side and sacrifice the exchange over there. So I go H4. Usually H5 is a move. H6 is good, though, because after I go H5, which, of course, yes, the engine doesn't like it as much. But at the same time, I am going to sacrifice this in a practical manner and play practical chess rather than engine chess, right? Because the engine's like, oh, what's wrong? Because on move 87, then you lose again. In 30 moves with best player's accuracy, then you win. Or in 15 moves from now, when you play super accurately, then you win. That's what the engine's like. So practically, when you're playing a human, that's not possible. So after H5, the best move is actually G5, in fact. Well, engine likes knight takes H5, but what's better as a human is like G5, practical-wise. G5, but I was going, if G5 happens, I'm going to move this bishop either here or here. They like G3, and then I'm going to play F4 and try to break it up even more. He ends up going bishop G7, though, which immediately gives us an advantage. After takes, bishop D3, which attacks this weak pawn here. Again, G5 could be a thing, but we'll go bishop G6 in this case and check him and then mess up his castle. So castles immediately just loses one of the pawns. I took on H6. I could have taken on G6 too as well because both of these pawns are hanging. But I took the H6 pawn to get the rook activated too as well. He captures. I bring the rook in. G5, rook check, and then after king H7, which is the worst move to play, you could have went king F7, which here or here I probably was just going to play rook takes G5 was what I was going to do. But he went king H7, and I guess he thought that this rook was attacked. But in fact, it's actually just defended by the bishop. So after rook takes F6, completely winning, rook check, and then I pre-move queen H5. King F7 is the only move not to get mated in one. I still would have played queen H5, which is why I pre-moved it. And then he went king H8 and queen H5 was check and mate. Very fast, very aggressive. That's what we do over here, guys. So hopefully you learned something from this one. I think the theme of today is take the free stuff, guys. Take the free stuff. You know what I mean? Especially at this rating range, if they give it to you, take it. But always check to make sure they're not giving it up and you getting checkmated. But usually in this range, take the stuff. They're going to hang pieces. And you just don't want to be the one hanging them. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. This one is episode 5, and it's been blowing up the speed runs. So we're going to keep these things coming and going up to 2,000 rated, and then go to other openings too as well, guys. So let me know what you think in the comments. I also will have a pinned comment for you guys to answer to as well. And I'll see you on the next episode.